Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session of Meet the Lindens. And today I'm meeting the Second Life marketing team, consisting of Feuling Linden, Chief Marketing Officer, who is sitting on my right, Brett Linden, Vice President of Marketing, who's sitting on my left, Darcy Linden, Director of Marketing, who's sitting to the left of Brett, Maveric Linden, Senior Marketing Analyst, who's sitting to the right of Feuling, Strawberry Linden, Social Media Manager, who is sitting at the left-hand end, and Emika Linden, the Senior Marketing Manager, who is sitting to my extreme right. I hope that makes sense to everyone. And I hope I got it all right. Now, together, the team focuses on both the acquisition of new users and the retention of existing users for Second Life. The team uses both paid and non-paid tactics to promote Linden Lab and its products across traditional and digital media outlets. The team includes industry veterans and experts in advertising, public relations, editorial, e-commerce, web analytics, SEO, SMM, SEM, and social media community management. Quite a lot then. So, first of all, can I ask, are you the marketing team for Second Life or for Linden Labs as a whole?
So I'll jump in here. It's Feuling Linden. It is, so I'm actually the only person on the team who covers across the entire Linden research organization. So I oversee, at the highest level, I oversee the marketing for Second Life, but I also oversee Tilia, which is our payments platform company as well. And then also help at the Linden research and the Linden Lab level for any brand and marketing related issues there.
My second question is, what's SEO, SMM, SEM?
I can grab this one. SEO is a search engine optimization. SMM is social media marketing, and SEM is search engine marketing. SMM, social media marketing. There's so many acronyms in marketing, as you can tell here. At the lab, we've employed personally, and with Maveric quite a bit too. We've done many flavors of all of this marketing in the past with a lot of success. Now, I'm going to go off here a little bit, but in the aftermath of the pandemic, we really had to retool and rethink how our overall strategy was and is going to be moving forward. So we really want to entice qualified residents, and by, I'm doing air quotes, qualified, meaning that they'll find both enjoyment and personal empowerment in Second Life. And so a lot of the segmentation research that has been brought up a few times and will probably be discussed later really feeds into that. So we're really excited with all that stuff.
Yes, I'm looking forward to finding out more. Now, can you tell me a little about your backgrounds and what drew you to working for the lab? And if I can start with you, Feuling.
Yeah, so it is. So I have a very deep bench of what I'll call marketing experience. I've actually had the honor of working on kind of, as we would describe it, all three sides of the marketing kind of ecosystem. So I've been a brand marketer at companies like the Walt Disney Company, Clorox Company. I've worked on the tech and the media side with companies like Yahoo and with the Bloomberg organization. And most recently, I ran advertising agencies, most recently for MDC Partners and Dentsu. So I've been on all sides of the table. And what really drew me here is that this is such an incredible opportunity because it really does tap kind of all of the different kinds of experience that I have. The kind of more traditional brand marketer, kind of helping to kind of build awareness, drive kind of brand positioning and more of the strategic pieces. But it also kind of draws on the Tilia side, outside of Second Life, it really draws on, launching new businesses and really having a deeper understanding in terms of things like the B2B marketplace, et cetera. So that was what was really, what really drew me to this, was just that I get to kind of play with every part of my brain every day that I'm here.
That's great. That sounds really exciting. So moving to you, Brett. I know I've asked you this before, but perhaps for people who haven't caught earlier conversations, you could tell us about your background and what drew you to Linden Lab.
Yeah, and as a long timer here, so it's been a while. But I started off many years ago as an entertainment journalist. I worked at several music and tech publications, probably the best known of which was Billboard. And I actually was one of the founding members of Billboard.com, so that kind of ages myself right there. Also worked with an early streaming service called Rolling Stone Radio, which was awesome. We got to do dedicated music channels for David Bowie and Jimmy Buffett and a bunch of other celebrities. Pretty cool. And then I worked at early days Amazon as well, launching the computer video game store as far as the editorial content. I've been at Linden Lab for several years. As people know, I was early involved in launching the Destination Guide and a lot of other projects. And I was drawn originally to Second Life by the promise of a lot of the media and journalism organizations. So like Reuters and CNN, which had in-world news bureaus. And of course, as a news junkie for myself, that was fascinating to me. And so that's what caused me to check out Second Life originally, and I've been here since.
Excellent. So I'll move to Darcy, who's sitting next to you. And Darcy, perhaps you can tell us a little about your background and what drew you to working for the lab.
I just had a bunch of flashbacks. Oh my goodness. My first job out of school, I was working at a television station doing motion graphics, which is very random, very interesting. Mm-hmm. And then after that, I moved to San Francisco, and I actually worked at a digital agency doing SEM, and Stephen actually was there as well in another department, but still, it was like really cool. And then what's really crazy is that less than 30 feet from the lab in San Francisco, I was working at a digital publishing company, and yeah, I mean, I saw the job description posted, and I'm a geek, like an early adopter of like new tech and stuff, and I was like, oh my god, like oh man. So I told my sister I had this interview, and she's like, oh my god, I love Second Life, and my sister plays. I was like, oh my goodness, plays the whole thing. So anyways, moving forward, when I got in there, I could work with similar-minded people and use my marketing skills for good, like real good, and at the same time, it was a no-brainer for me. So I interviewed with Brett and Maveric here, and the rest is history. Thank you both for allowing me to work here.
Right, so Strawberry, what about you?
Oh, it's my turn. Okay, well.
Yeah.
I have been a resident of Second Life for 15 years now, and I was a blogger before, and I was doing a lot of video content and blogging content and imagery, and then Linden Lab posted a job for a marketing content specialist, and I applied, and after being interviewed by 6 different people for over a month, they finally decided I'm good enough to be hired, and it was great, and I love it here. I've just reached my 3 years, and I'm having a blast.
Fantastic. I'm going to move right along to the other end of the line now and ask Emika the same question. If you can tell us a little about your background and
absolutely
your lab.
I actually really liked what Feuling said about play with all different parts of my brain. That I thought was it kind of, as I was thinking about this question, so I worked at High Fidelity actually for more than 3 years with Philip Rosedale, the founder of Second Life. So I actually began working there when it was an open source VR platform. So I got to see it evolve several different times into now awesome spatial audio. So I got to work with both the community, writing, different social strategy, also on market research. The sort of grew with the company. So I liked a lot that it was very dynamic and allowed for a lot of creativity. And I see working for the lab and Second Life very similarly. So like that play with all different parts of my brain that encompasses it well.
And Maverick, if I can come to you, what's your background and what drew you to the lab?
Yeah, hi. So as you know now, I'm the kind of the data guy for our marketing team, and I'm responsible for all reporting related stuff to marketing. And then, I mean, that includes performance marketing, email marketing, and then I guess just some other general post-acquisition user analyses. I do have an engineering background, but I think it's just always fascinating to me to see the kind of the user-facing side of everything, right? And then I believe what attracted me the most back then when I first joined the company was really the people who work here. Everyone is just so unapologetically colorful in their own ways. They're all so very smart. So I had definitely learned a lot of different things, I guess, just by working with them. So yeah, I'm very fortunate to be here for almost 7.5 years.
Fantastic. Now, all of you, would you say that whether it's lived up to your expectations, Second Life, or is it something quite different from what you thought it would be? I'm going to start with the two newest members, who are Emika and then Feuling.
Yeah, I can start. So I think actually one of the first things I got to work on was, I think probably we'll just end up discussing this a bit more, but the user segmentation research that I got to help with. I thought it was really helpful to get to understand the residents more on a one-to-one basis. And I guess in terms of expectations, it was just cool to hear about how much Second Life means to people, whether that's through sort of meaningful relationships, identity expression, creation of these incredibly imaginative worlds that it's incredible, honestly. So I guess in terms of seeing it evolve over time and seeing it as this dynamic place that is fun and strange, I would say that absolutely meets and exceeds expectations.
Yeah, and I'll just build off of that, which is has it lived up to my expectations? No, it has way exceeded my expectations. It is not only does it kind of tap every part of my brain, and I mean tap, because there's a lot going on right now, but it's just such an incredibly exciting time to be particularly in this whole metaverse zone. There's just so much energy right now, and there's so much going on. There's so many different definitions of what it is and what it isn't, etc. And so not only is the day-to-day of what we need to do really amazing, but just the kind of helping to guide and kind of form what I believe very firmly is going to be a significant part of the future and our digital futures, and frankly our kind of personal futures, is really amazing. So I tell this to people, and this is not a lie. I tell this to people when I see them, that it is just an incredible time to be kind of in this space. But it's what an incredible place to be, kind of within Second Life, kind of within this space. It's just amazing. It is literally just amazing. So,
And this is a platform that's been going for, well, over 19 years since it went beta. And there's still the energy and excitement. It's wonderful, isn't it? So do you find that sort of energy and excitement, people who've been here longer? Brett?
I will just say there's never a dull moment in Second Life. Expect the unexpected. It just is still something that satisfies my curiosity. I will, like anyone else out there, I mean, we have our Linden identities and I have my alts, and I will frequently explore even on my off time and just randomly go around and or use the destination guide to find cool places. But there's always something that surprises me. So yes, I still enjoy Second Life. I'm still surprised and enjoy it.
Darcy, how about you?
This is a hard question. I think that over my 4 years here, living in San Francisco, I before the pandemic, I used to go to a lot of kind of meetups and whatever, and I had a lot of people, several, like a handful of people that have told me that they're either their significant other or themselves was in Second Life and how much it impacted their lives. And so, I mean, I can still see like their faces in my mind of like that deep emotion. It's something that's just extraordinary. And there have been times in my career when I've been faced with the decision to do what is right versus what is easy. And I will say that working at Linden Lab, and especially on the Second Life, team itself, there was never, even within the organization, there's never been anyone who's chosen to do the easy path ever. And that is something I incredibly admire. And even when I'm like, oh, I'm like, no, and it always goes back to that. So I'm just very happy to be here, and it has exceeded my expectations.
That's wonderful. Maverick, what about you?
Yeah, so 100%. I think what drew me in at the very beginning, as I said, was people who work here, right? And then that cannot be more true, that like you can just learn a lot from people you work with. And then the more I get to know the product, just like Darcy just mentioned, I definitely get to see how important this product to a lot of people, right? And in so many different ways. I think it's a platform. It's not just a game. It's like people get to kind of like, not only to find out who they are, but also to maybe be someone that they cannot be in real life. So obviously, I didn't really know a lot of this before coming in. Now, after 7 years, I think this is just, I wouldn't choose anything different. I think this is a perfect product to work for. Yeah.
And Strawberry, what about you? Because you, of course, had this long lead into becoming a Linden.
Yeah. I don't even know how to express in words how Second Life has impacted my life. Sometimes I would say it's definitely kind of saved it, and it's just been an incredible experience, and every day I feel like it just gets better and better, especially since I started working here too. So yeah, I don't know what else to say.
Right. So I think this is for Feuling and Brett, perhaps. But what is your vision for the marketing of Second Life moving forwards?
Brett, why don't you start, and then I'll kind of build off of what you kind of lay out.
Sure. Yeah, I will. So first of all, I just want to say that I've been really excited to see Feuling bring his expertise and experience to the team. And it's really been amazing to learn from him with his vast experience, and also, of course, work closely with Emika, who joined us from High Fidelity and has joined our team last year. So there's a new energy in our team, which is really, really exciting right now. I've always had a bias towards wanting to mine for and better surface the stories and the cultures within Second Life. So I'm glad that we have several content initiatives that continue to shine the spotlight on our community and all the creativity. So that's not going to change. We think about the vision is really making sure that we surface and do justice to the stories, the communities, the culture of Second Life in its true form. There's right now, as anyone who's reading the news or follows the news knows, there's been a huge hype cycle right now surrounding all things Metaverse. And I think we'll see potentially, some reality checks in the sector over the next year. But we have done some really exciting research for Second Life specifically that I know Stephen will talk about in a little bit, that really will help shape our vision. Really, it's going to help inform and have us better understand where our opportunities are, where we should spend our time, our money and our energy for marketing and product as well. But you will definitely continue to see organic and content initiatives unfold in the coming year. Things like our Second Life University is relatively new. I know we'll talk about that this hour. More live streams, continued momentum in getting what we believe is our rightful share of voice in mainstream and or specialty media coverage. So those kinds of things. I don't know, I'll toss it to Stephen to get his take too.
Yeah, great. Just building off of that, what's so exciting about this opportunity is, I feel like my job is to ensure that I am doing everything I can possibly do to make our residents happier. And that includes not only kind of bringing new people into the community that will fit and grow and enhance and kind of add value to the community, but also for the existing residents, kind of what we can do, what we can learn from them, et cetera. So kind of one theme that I think I've already brought into the organization, and we'll talk a little bit more about it, I think, later, is this idea of always making sure that we are listening to kind of all of you and getting the feedback and the insights that we need to understand, why you're here, the value that you get from this incredible experience, where you're getting that value, where the things that we're doing really well, but also giving us feedback on areas where there might be opportunities, like what more could we do? What would make you happier? What are the kinds of things that we do there? So this idea of making sure that we are kind of listening and getting feedback from all of you, kind of on a pretty ongoing basis, and basic and broadly as possible across the community, I think is going to be a real focus moving forward.
That's great. So we've sort of skirted around that there's been this really ambitious research project. I have to say it sounds fascinating, aimed at better understanding the various types of communities in Second Life. So can you tell me a little about the findings and what the project actually was?
So, and Brett, if you want to jump in kind of after I kind of talk through it, so one of the things that I felt was really important, and frankly, to be honest, Brett had already identified this when I came through the door a little over 6 months ago, was the need to really dig deeper and kind of do what I was just saying, which was get a deeper kind of level of understanding of who our residents were and where they were getting kind of the most value out of their relationship in the community within Second Life, and where there might be opportunity areas so it was really more just about getting a really kind of a much deeper and a much broader understanding of kind of who is and what is Second Life. What we learned was that, not surprising, Second Life is an incredibly diverse community. There are different groups that are engaging for very different reasons kind of within the community. And I think that's very important for us to understand, because those different groups are looking for, different kinds of experiences, different kinds of kind of platforms, et cetera, that we need to obviously make sure that we are paying attention to from a product or an in-world perspective, but also incredibly important for us to understand who are the people who we believe outside of the Second Life world right now that would best fit with these different communities that we have been able to identify within world. So it's a really great way for us to really start to not only just have a better and broader understanding, but to start to give us those cues that we can do from a product perspective and frankly from a marketing perspective, in order to ensure that we are kind of building and creating kind of this better Second Life for all of you.
Are you intending to publish any of this, or is it kind of an internal document for the lab?
I think what you will see is we are not intending to publish the full document. These kinds of research studies never that's really not a practice for them. But you will, I think, start to see kind of certain pieces of information as we start to bring some of that out in things like some of our press narratives and things like that. You'll also see, just in terms of things like what we do from a marketing perspective, kind of who targeting, messaging, and things like that, which will be driven by the insights that we learned within the research.
Brilliant. Now, something I've been getting messages about, and I believe it's a project that comes under marketing, and that's the Second Life University. Can you explain a little about what that is and why you decided to set it up?
I would love to. This has been something, actually one of my favorite things actually to work on so far. So I have to admit, although I worked for High Fidelity for years in virtual worlds, I definitely would not call myself an expert by any means when we're talking about things like avatar creation or building or anything. My lovely avatar here, you can thank Strawberry for helping me with. So of course, when I started, I do the thing I like to do, of course, Googling, finding tutorials, YouTube videos. So I wasn't looking like I, just started. But what I immediately realized is, of course, there's a ton of incredible information out there. That's like, both internally as well as externally, there's thousands of videos. But some of them are, they're, lengthy, or maybe they're a bit older, or they could be updated. And some of it was a little challenging to follow. So I know that, and I, after having talked to the team, that a lot of newer users also feel similarly. So we began this, frankly, gigantic endeavor to and you'll see once I elaborate a little bit more. So it is a quite large endeavor to making these updated, polished, concise videos on many different topics, particularly beginning with ones that are relevant to new users, figuring things out. So you may have already started to see these videos, and if you haven't, you can see them on our YouTube channel. So far, they are created by one of our residents, Boston, who does incredible work. You may have also seen an equally important part of what falls under this kind of Second Life University umbrella are the in-depth live streams that Strawberry is doing, also with help of other Lindens as well. So those are also like complete with a live Q&A during, she'll answer questions in the chat, as well as going through different topics. So anyway, our intention with this is to aggregate all of this information in one easy to find place in multiple formats, because, including text, translations, considering everyone learns in different ways, and we want to be mindful of that. So obviously this is a huge project and is not a small undertaking to be organizing all of this. There are so many things to cover, but we've been seeing some great feedback on this, and I am stoked to be helping organize and work on it. So, yeah.
Great. Strawberry, how are you finding this? Because of course you were one of the people creating videos before you became a Linden.
I love the idea. I find it a lot of work. So it takes me a while to get the live streams done, but I'm glad we have Boston on board to do the more concise videos, and hopefully looking forward to seeing the final product with the full page and or full wherever it ends up with everything curated together. I think it's really necessary because we do have a learning curve, and having that kind of information out there, information that's going to be constantly updated too. These streams and videos won't stop, that we will continue with whatever new features are released, whatever else is going on. We will continue to do these kinds of videos indefinitely, hopefully.
I think that's great to have a place where people can go to find it all out. Is such a cool idea.
Sure.
Now, we all know that there's been a resurgence of interest in virtual worlds, aka the Metaverse, with quite a bit of focus on Facebook, or rather Meta as it is now. What impact has that had on Second Life marketing?
Stephen, you want me to go first on this? There's so much to say on this topic.
Yeah, go ahead, Brett.
I will say that it has caused us to up our game. So we now have, a renewed energy and mission in what we do to bring Second Life, awareness of Second Life to the world. So happy, as we mentioned earlier, we, beefed up our resources with both Feuling and Emika. We have a new external PR agency. There's just a lot of stuff happening to really capture this moment and make sure that we're represented correctly. I think there's really a new appreciation for Second Life. We jokingly refer to it as the OG of virtual worlds. We were there, as a pioneer, almost 20 years. I can't believe it. So the stakes are a bit higher, certainly from a business perspective. But we do also feel more of a sense of urgency to convey that there are alternatives to Meta's vision of a metaverse. It doesn't need to devolve into this dystopian nightmare where every move is monitored or monetized. Do you trust Mark Zuckerberg to build a virtual world that protects your privacy and brings out the best in humankind? We're not, you know what I mean? So we're not delusional about the real threats and the money and the muscle of a company like Meta. Obviously, we're aware of that. But we do believe that Second Life is the better metaverse in so many ways. And so bring it on. Stephen, what do you think?
I agree. I think you're being a little nice. I actually think we have got to fight the battle to ensure that Meta does not define what a metaverse is, because what they're building is, I would argue, not a metaverse. They are, and to the point that Brett made is, we have, when you look at the community that we have built, what we've learned over, nearly 19 years in this, in this space. We have learned the importance of kind of the communities, the idea of creators, and kind of helping them participate in things like an economy, etc. It's incredibly important that we not lose sight of that, and that we not let the marketplace define the kind of evil empire as the gold standard in terms of what this is, because it's actually absolutely not true. So that is, from a strategic perspective, that is, I think, one of the battles, and one of the things that we are fighting is just that piece of it, because they are so big, they have such, kind of heft in the marketplace. They spend a lot of money. There are reporters at the top newspapers who 100% of their job is to just cover Facebook and Meta. And so battling that kind of every day is very important to us. But I will say that I think because we have such a compelling story, because you guys have created such an amazing community, and the story that kind of lives behind that, we have been able to punch above our weight, and we are giving them a run for their money in terms of the kinds of coverage that we're getting from a media perspective. Frankly, bringing Philip Rosedale back into the family in a much more formal way has really helped us, I think, kind of bring the original kind of, visionary, kind of where this all came from, and bring his voice back into this, and bringing this idea of tech can actually be good and it can actually do better. And we are kind of a proof point of that, I think, has become an incredibly important kind of part of our voice and kind of how we talk about ourselves. So yeah, it is, but on the more positive end, the reality is, because of their heft and their size, they keep the word and they keep the energy around this space very much in the marketplace. And I think, especially as, you're starting to see kind of the movement with entertainment properties and marketing and brands and things like that, Meta, I think, is helping to drive some of that. So we do have to, I guess, I hate to say this, thank them for kind of just bringing some energy into the space, but we've got to continue kind of battle them that they don't take control and kind of, own the vision of what this space should be.
Yeah, I can see that totally. I want to pick up on a point that you referenced. You said that you're working with a new external PR firm. And I think that's to meet heightened coverage in mainstream and specialty media. And is it true you're also looking for an increased presence in conferences and events? Can you tell us something about that?
Yeah, we are absolutely really starting to participate kind of more in conferences and events, because again, I think that there are great opportunities for us to get our point of view and our perspective in front of, oftentimes opinion leaders and or people who are just wildly engaged in a specific topic or area. So just recently, Philip Rosedale spoke at Davos, specifically around Metaverse. He actually was on a panel with the head of product from Meta, which was, if you get to go and watch the video someplace, there's a couple of interesting interactions. Philip recently keynoted at the Nikkei digital summit from Tokyo. He actually did it remotely, but still, we are really starting to kind of move more aggressively kind of into this space, because again, that is where a lot of the momentum and a lot of the opinion leaders and the people who are highly engaged are actually getting their information and kind of forming opinions. And so we have to be there. Right.
Yes, very good point. That sort of raises another issue with me. The blockchain cryptocurrency operators, in some senses, they could be seen as competitors to Second Life, especially perhaps the Tilia system.
So I'm going to take this one. So I kind of frame it a little bit differently, which is there are competitors who are building themselves on the blockchain. But do we view, so yes, they're in our competitive space, but when you actually look at what they're doing and how they're doing in the experience that they're delivering and the communities that they're building, they're not even on the radar. We just heard today that, and I'm not going to name names, but I believe the largest blockchain-based and crypto-based metaverse has a daily average user rate of 1,000 people across the entire world.
Wow.
That's the largest. And so I think, yes, they've built something that is competitive, but they're not even on the radar in terms of what they've been able to deliver. What they do deliver is they deliver a lot of hype and a lot of speculation, but they've not been able to deliver in terms of what's really important to us, which is kind of that real resident experience. You have to also understand when you start to get into things like crypto that you really can't build, or it's not easy to build a crypto-based world like a Second Life. Just very pragmatically, just think of the way that the currencies, the cryptocurrency, the rate changes on a daily basis. To be honest, if you owned crypto a few months back and you go into a wallet today, just think of what value that is. Do you want to go into a world every day and see that what you thought was worth $5 yesterday is now worth $1.50 today? So that is a huge issue. The other piece is just crypto is maybe good for very large transactions, like movements between central banks and things like that. But when you start to see very, very small transactions, they're very inefficient, and it's very difficult for them to kind of assume to play there. So those are just two examples as to why you're not going to be able to do what we're able to do through crypto at this point in its development.
Right. Now, last year I talked to you, Brett, about renewed interest by brands and entertainment partnerships. How has that gone? And are you anticipating more partnerships in the near future? And can you give us any hints about these?
I love this topic. So first, I just have to add that full props to our native creators and communities, which have built up their own, Second Life specific or, brands and products. And so they're the heart of Second Life. With that said, yes, brands and our entertainment partners are something of interest to us to augment that. But let's fully give props to the creators that have really built up Second Life to what it is, and we want to acknowledge that. I think the thing to jump off on what Feuling just said is that, recognize that if we're going to do partnerships that are going to be mutually successful, those companies externally, they want to go where there's going to be some success for them, defined by engagement and in actual interactions in some ways. And I think it's very interesting that there's a lot of these overhyped blockchain metaverses that, may get a headline or two, but they're not getting the community. They're not sticking around. So that actually makes Second Life, a pretty compelling option for these companies. So yeah, over the last year, we've had discussions with both large and smaller emerging brands and entertainment properties. Some of that is seeing the light of day. Some of it's still in the works. So I think what's known already that I would call out that we're really proud of, like the Film Threat partnership. That's a smaller partnership, but they've created a virtual cinema and they do monthly programmed meet and greets and or screenings, and they cross promote it to their, their readership as well. So that's done really well. Really proud of the work that Drax in the community he does with the publishing company, publishing world, which is the Second Life Book Club. That's going on. I think it just celebrated its 2-year anniversary. Every single week he's been cranking away and bringing in, both indie and major publishers, authors with a very established track record there. And so that's really great. We've seen Zenoscope, the NFL Alumni Association, just lots of projects. We have another partnership or two closer to, the next couple of months. We'll hopefully have something to announce next month as well. One thing is that Second Life has a proven community, a proven economy. They're just things that some of our competitors do struggle with. So we just think that Second Life is a better option for those brands or entertainment companies that want to have their fans or followers, come into Second Life, especially where it makes sense. If our community aligns with the values, culture, and community associated with that brand or that entertainer. So there's definitely more to come.
Brilliant. You've also set up collaborations with people within the community and those regarded as influencers. Can you say something about this?
I can take that one if you all don't mind.
Go for it.
All right. I don't hear any any nays. So over the past, I'd say like roughly 2 years or 1 year, really ramping up last year, we've been focused on giving tools to the community and, other people outside of like the normal sphere of SL influence, people who are, affiliates or others who are, just creating content for the heck of it. But at the end of the day, like we really want to give them tools, whether you're, just trying to bring in people in your inner circle or you're a massive influencer with, millions of followers. So we're coming up with something, or we came up with something called the Partner Portal, which is replacing Commission Junction. Right now, we're in the early stages of the Partner Portal, and really what that will be is, whoever you are, you can go in and generate a link, and then by doing X, Y, and Z, you can get paid for spreading the word of Second Life. We're also wrapping in the referral links for just regular residents overall. So as of now, again, people in the community forums have a lot of good ideas, and we've had a few emailed over. So if anybody has that, I'm going to put in a plug for myself. Please email feedback@lindenlab.com with the subject Partner Program. And I read all those emails that go through there. So I will read them. And also I have a whole bunch of notes of other ideas already. So that's where we're at right now.
Fantastic. You're also creating something new called community pages. Can you tell us what these are? And do they tie into the research project we were discussing earlier?
I guess I'll start by saying we actually gave a sneak preview of these community pages a couple months ago. The first one was Black Culture and Second Life. And we have many, many more to come. So firstly, this month, actually, we'll be doing an LGBTQ plus page. And what these pages are all about is celebrating residents' personal stories, quotes, images, videos, all about what Second Life means to them. So it's not only to highlight and show all of this work that they've done, but also because I think we spoke a little bit earlier and you asked as well if it is tied into the research project. Actually, these pages are something we were wanting to do and starting to work on while the research was actually happening, but just in the hypothesis that community and strengthening that and people being able to find support for what they need, have fun with other people, like, explore different areas. I think these pages are meant to make that all the more accessible. And of course, as Maverick and Feuling and others have touched on already with what the research has found, that is for sure a very important thing, and absolutely support what the project was going for. So obviously also a very large project in addition to Second Life University, that is, of course, because there are many different communities within Second Life, and we definitely do not want to we want to be very inclusive with this. So but yeah, I think that's kind of a good overview, but many things to come on that.
Sounds really exciting.
Yeah.
So, the Second Life Blogger Network launched a few years ago. How's that going? How many people are participating now?
Well, I can take that one. I think it's going to be 3 years this September when we launched it, and we have about 800 that have signed up, which includes bloggers and vloggers and Flickr bloggers. And it's just amazing because there's so much content now that it's hard to feature everything. We get like hundreds of posts coming in a day, and I have to pick 10 out of them. So it can be difficult, but it's so great. I mean, obviously, we're trying to feature content that is informative. We love tutorials. We love if there's an event going on, an art exhibit, anything about that is definitely gets featured. But also we love the pretty pictures as well. So everybody is welcome to sign up, and it's actually great for us as well too, because the bloggers in the community are so enthusiastic and informative and share so much information about Second Life that we learn more about Second Life as well. We know what's going on, what events are going on, what new art exhibit is out, what new release I have to have, so it's great. It's been going great.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
that's really good. How can the community help to promote Second Life?
Really sharing photos of awesome places, events, outfits on social media. We've seen from the segmentation research that a lot of people have joined Second Life because they saw something there that really sparked their interest. Like, oh, I want to look like that, or oh, I want to do that. I want to experience that. So as a whole, like, that would be awesome, and that's still great. Please keep doing that. Also, Flickr is awesome. Keep posting photos. We love to see it, etc. For current residents, we know it's difficult, as Feuling said, and again, we're working to fix that, and we do hear everyone. I'll pass it over to one of my colleagues, Strawberry. Anyone else have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I'm going to add to that and say keep doing what you're doing, because I feel like the residents are one of the strongest marketers of Second Life with all their blogs and images and YouTube videos and so forth. So basically keep doing what you're doing and enjoy it while you're doing it. That's the biggest thing, because if you're not passionate or if you don't love what you're doing, people can see that in your posts. So, just have fun with it and share it on social media. It's the word of mouth is the biggest way to get the word out.
And hey, can I jump in? Sorry.
Sure.
Love to hear feedback from you all, from the community, in terms of what you think we could do to better kind of leverage the kind of incredible experiences and stories that all of you have. I mean, we know that you are kind of our best representatives. And so again, would love if you think that you have specific ideas around that we might be missing, or that we should focus more on. Would love to get any insight that you have there. That would be wonderful.
Right. I'm sure people in the audience right now are going to be putting their thinking caps on and firing up their email. So, what can the community expect from marketing in 2020 and beyond?
I will say real quick, also another plug for this, Destination Guide. It is completely revamped and it is coming soon to mobile near you.
Yay.
Yay.
That brings me to a question I've had. I asked for questions from residents, and Pet Pink Lady asked, can you explain how What's Hot Now in the Destination Guide works?
For sure. So just in case the people in the audience don't know, the What's Hot Now category shows up only in the destinations floater that's in the viewer. So I'm opening it on my screen right now so you guys can see. It's right there. If you go to World and Destinations, you'll get this floater. And this What's Hot Now category is auto-generated, and it shows any destination that is listed in the destination guide that currently has 20 to 30 residents there. So, you know, we try to keep it at that number so people don't have a problem, you know, coming in, because sometimes people put limits on how many people can come into a region, and also a less lag as well. So between 20 30 you know, residents at that specific time, and I believe it changes like continuously. Every few minutes you'll see different destinations there. So that's how What's Hot Now works, but you need to be listed on the destination guide to show up there. So, and you can do that by submitting a URL, or you can email editor@lindenlab.com to submit your entries there as well.
And I see it actually tells you how many people are there.
Right. It'll tell you how many people are there. And yeah, I think What's Hot Now also shows up on the login screen as well, but it does not show up on the web version.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, got another couple of questions, if I may put them to you. Dean McKenzie is asking why he doesn't see any mainstream advertising for Second Life. Has there ever been a TV commercial or any web ads? And are there plans to make people more aware of Second Life?
So there are absolutely plans to build awareness of Second Life. And to be honest, Dean, we are looking at all of these as potential. I think part of what we learned from the segmentation study was for different segments, the right media for which to connect with them. And so whether that's digital, whether that would be more mainstream or connected television, that will flow from some of the analysis that we're doing right now. I will say we have such a robust portfolio of content that we can draw from. We have, you know, what I would say are video or television assets or TV commercial-like assets that we'd be able to draw from. We have obviously all of the digital assets that we can build as well, but we need to align the messaging and kind of what that vehicle is with the media that we end up pursuing. So all of this is on the table, but it will be very much driven by, you know, some of the stuff that we're doing right now in terms of the next steps around the segmentation, in terms of better honing down kind of where the opportunities are and the right media and the right messaging and how to connect with those high potential new residents.
Have you ever thought about having a competition for Second Life ads from residents?
I know, Strawberry, you've done some of these solicitation of user-created videos, right, into a particular theme and challenges. Those have done very well. So those might be something we want to do more of. But, you know, anything that gets people to tell the story and share with pride their experiences with Second Life is a good thing in my eyes. So, yeah. So, you know, we'll look at doing more of that. But, you know, we have to do it the right way.
I'm not always that keen on contests, only because they don't always work. They don't always shed a positive light. I love doing the challenges, and that's a good idea. I do want to say that we do use resident content to promote Second Life on socials and so forth through different paid ads. And so when you see our destination videos, and so we are, you know, advertising out there. It's not like we're not, we haven't done any of that. And every week when we're even posting just on socials, when we're highlighting different communities or residents or destinations through Spotlight or the destination videos, or, I'm featuring residents on Instagram stories every day or pick of the day. All of that is a form of advertising, either paid or, social. So we are out there and we are sharing, the beautiful world of Second Life in various ways already. But yeah, a contest is can be a little bit tricky, but it is something that we can definitely look at.
Yeah, it's why when I was running a magazine, I was always reluctant to get involved with awards, because you have a winner, but you then have 50 losers.
Exactly. That's, yeah.
Okay. Now, this is a question with some historical resonance, and it's from Prokofy Neva. And he asks, could you bring back rotating resident ad boards at InfoHubs? We had these in the Telehub era, and there is both too much of the wrong advertising and a lack of good advertising capacity in Second Life, which I guess refers back to what we were discussing earlier. And it would be great to have the rotating ad boards again.
Yeah, I want to go back in the archives and look and learn more about it. So if this is in reference to not blatant brand advertising, I don't think anybody wants to see, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that there's enough visual pollution in the physical world with billboards that can be pretty obnoxious. However, if there's informational, like things that promote events or things that are of value for folks, then not advertising in the sort of brand advertising sense, that might be interesting. So I think maybe we'll learn a little bit more about it and discuss internally about where and how there would be a better way to surface information in sort of a billboard or bulletin board type fashion in the public squares and the welcome areas and info hubs and that kind of thing. And that's very different than doing like, a Coke or a Nike ad or whatever. I think those billboards are not something that we're looking at instituting. I would assume for, people will be happy to hear that inside Second Life.
Yeah, remembering all those when the land used to get carved up and those horrible billboards be placed out in the middle of residential properties. No. Strawberry, you must remember those days.
Very messy days, I have to say. Yeah.
Okay. Have any of you had a chance to visit the birthday celebrations yet? And if you have, has anything stood out as a must-see?
I went on this really crazy ride called the Tornado, and it totally made me nauseated, but it was so much fun. So if you guys have not been yet, go to the Tornado ride. It's one of the exhibits. I think it's by Team Ba. I could be wrong, but it's a lot of fun.
I was hearing tonight about a steampunk Segway that's meant to be a brilliant thing to ride around on.
Oh yeah, the pods are there too this time. So if you like riding the pods, they'll take you to all the regions.
Yeah.
I saw a steampunked Venice on the Flickr photos today. I haven't gotten to go there yet, but it looked pretty cool.
I try to go every year. I've not had a chance yet. It's just been so busy, but it's definitely on my list to do this week. I love the pods, and I'm glad to hear they're back because you can just jump right on them, and it makes it easy to get at a glance a whole tour of all the regions. So I can't wait to check it out.
Yeah.
I have to say, every year I discover something new. Like I discovered Second Life Golf, which I love, through the birthday. And last year I discovered that there's actually a Second Life beekeeping association.
Oh, yes. That's a great destination.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I want to check that out.
So I'm looking forward to seeing what I can discover this year. Now, I'm going to ask a final question. And on a lighter note, what's the craziest, most bizarre thing you've ever seen or done in Second Life?
I will go first. Here we go. When I first joined, I, as Emika said, I was exploring, taking notes, I was randomly teleporting. I went into a Gorian RP region, and I had a suit on. I was like feeling all good. I'm like, oh yeah, like this is Grandma Linden, woo. Anyways, I pop right in. There are hundreds of, I think there were hundreds. There was probably like 30 slaves all chained up to the floor, and I'm like,
God.
where am I? And then the region owner started yelling at me, and so I was like, I was so confused. I was like, no, please get just like got out. Anyway, that was interesting. I think the other one recent that I did not expect at all. This one's short, and I'm sorry, Brett Linden. We were having a meeting in one of our conference regions, and we both witnessed a live birth. It was so beautiful.
Wow.
And Brett, who was that again? I don't want to give any plugs here, but like that was really intense. I was not ready for that at all.
Yeah, I can't remember, but
So it was a whole thing. Anyway, would you like a demo? We're like, sure. There you go. Anyways, I will pass it off to one of my colleagues.
I guess I'll go next. To me, I think I've told the story years ago, but it was actually my official job interview for working at Linden Lab. And I actually was, relatively new to Second Life. I explored it and caught my fancy enough to apply. And again, this is a long time ago. But I was not very educated yet on creating my avatar, that kind of thing. And the specifics of nuances of, presenting yourself, I guess. And so I had rezzed in, they did the interview in World. It was really interesting. And so I had bought a suit and put it on and had my whole outfit and everything. And so I was very proud of that. And so I went to Resin for the in-world interview with the execs who are no longer here. And my pants did not res. So I went in basically half nude. And that was my first impression inside Second Life. But they hired me, so I guess I did okay. That's my story.
Yes.
Wow.
Amazing.
So, anyone else have a deep, dark secret or a fun thing?
I love just hearing these. I feel like I need to explore more clearly to see. Honestly, the thing I was thinking of was less. I don't know. Just made me happy. Like the regional burn events that happen. I don't know that there's any one specific thing, but it was, I think, just really astounding to see it virtually and to have been there in real life and to see what people have created in Second Life was really beautiful, honestly, which is sappier than than being but it was cool.
And I'll just say, I can't say that. So I'm pretty new to Second Life, so I'm still, I'd say, initiating kind of into the community, etc. But one segment that we learned a lot about in the research was a group of people who come in just to explore. They're kind of more like tourists than they are, kind of really, at least at this point, this point that we were talking with them, they weren't really fully engaged with the community. They were kind of there to kind of look around, and I would actually count myself as one of those people. I'm, very early in my life, I wanted to be an artist and a painter, and so I just love to walk around in the world and kind of jump from place to place and explore the unbelievably beautiful areas that have been created by people. It's just, oftentimes it's absolutely overwhelming to see kind of what the residents have created in so different and so unique and just so interesting. So not bizarre, not weird, but incredibly important and compelling to me, I have to say.
Have you been to the Second Life Endowment for the Arts, Feuling?
I have not. I'm writing it down.
Yeah, it's a big area of, I'm not sure how many regions, but 7 or possibly 9. And they give out they give out grants, which are spaces for artists to build. And so there's always exhibitions going on. And
That sounds great.
it's really worth going and exploring.
That'd be
They have
great.
some amazing installations over there. It's a good place to go and look at.
Great. Thank you. That sounds wonderful.
And of course, Fantasy Fair, which is just incredible. So, has anyone else got any stories?
Well, I've been here 15 years. I have like way too many bizarre stories. I could be here for an hour. But I think I just love, building on what Feuling said, I love the art in Second Life. It's just so inspiring. And I still remember this one exhibit that I saw probably over a decade ago now. And it was, you walked into it, I don't remember what it was called, and it literally would fall apart into pieces. You probably remember this, Saffia.
Wow. Yeah.
You would walk into it and then it would just fall apart into pieces around you, and then it would go back together again. I don't even know how they did it, but it was just mind-blowing just watching it. I'm trying to remember the name, but there's no way I'm going to remember. But the art is just so incredible, because there's things that you can do in Second Life that you just cannot do physically in the real world. So it's amazing to see.
I remember an exhibition years and years ago that was curated by Betty Natizzi,
Oh yeah.
which was called Not Possible in Real Life.
Oh yes, I remember that.
And that was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I guess this is bringing us to the end of the talk. And I really would like to thank Feuling, Brett, Maveric, Darcy, Emika, and Strawberry for joining me here today. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed talking to people. So thank you all.
Thank you, Saffia. It was great.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you so much. This was wonderful.